Hello and welcome to the IoT course by Think IoT Solutions. So in this particular session, we are going to take a look at Node-RED and how you can create end-to-end applications in an IoT domain using the Node-RED. So let us get started. So first, we'll just show you about what is Node-RED and what you can do with it. And then we'll install our Amazon AWS instance and we'll try to install the Node-RED in that instance. Once the Node-RED is installed, then we will try to create some applications using Node-RED. So let us get started with it and see what is actually Node-RED all about. So Node-RED is nothing but a graphical user interface wherein you have different blocks. That is, as you can see on the left hand side of this particular image, there are different blocks like inputs, outputs, functions, and all these blocks can be used to create some meaningful algorithm. So you can just drag and drop those boxes in your work area, and you can connect those boxes according to how your algorithm is, and you will be able to create algorithms in this way, and you'll be able to control devices. You will be able to get the data from the devices, and there are a lot of inbuilt nodes that are already available in the Node-RED and created by many users. So all those nodes can be used in order to create some very good applications directly using the block level implementation. So till now, what we have done is we have actually written the code for every application that we have done till now using Amazon AWS. We have written the codes either in Python, in HTML, PHP, in order to complete the end-to-end application. But in this case, when we are using Node-RED, we need not write the entire code. So we will be just using the blocks, and we'll be connecting those blocks in a meaningful way, and with that we will be able to achieve a particular application. So this is how a Node-RED window looks like, and now let us take a look at the second slide, which is having a little more complex connection of the nodes. So you can see here that there are different modules or different blocks which are connected in a very complex way in order to complete an application. So if you can see in this diagram, there are debug nodes, there are turn on, turn off nodes, and some nodes are controlling the light, pressure, temperature, accelerometer. So basically, Node-RED can be used to get the data from the sensors, used to sort of upload the data onto different servers using the HTTP get and post request. You can also use MQTT, that is already predefined blocks that are available in Node-RED. So there are unlimited applications that you can create using the Node-RED, and based on the blocks that are already implemented, you will be able to download those blocks into your palette, and then you will be able to use all those blocks in your applications. So we will take a look at all those applications, what you can do using Node-RED, and how those blocks need to be connected to provide a meaningful end-to-end application. One also important thing in Node-RED is that you have something called as a Node-RED dashboard. So if you see this particular slide, it shows the Node-RED dashboard, and basically it is like creating an app kind of a thing where you can visualize the data. So if you can see here, there are some gauges that are connected. There is a pie chart, there is a bar chart, and there are different sliders. So if you see, like, you'll be able to give or you will be able to pass the information to another app, or to another sensor using the slider buttons that are available. And there are many options in this dashboard, that is the UI dashboard, what we call. And using all those options, you will be able to create some beautiful looking apps, and you will be able to analyze that data. So if you can see on the third pane here, on the rightmost side, so there is a pie chart, there is a bar chart, and on top of that there is another chart which sort of compares the three different data that are there. So you will be able to use Node-RED, and you will be able to create such kind of dashboards wherein you can get the data from the sensors, and all that data that you have taken, you will be able to plot that data onto such kind of graphs where you can visualize them very easily. Thereby you will be able to analyze the data in a far better way. And also for giving different inputs, there are a lot of options like sliders, buttons, so you'll be able to directly click a button here and you'll be able to control any device. So this Node-RED can be used with different hardware. You can use it with a Raspberry Pi, you can use it with a Node MCU, you can use it with any other controller. But in this particular session, we are going to use Amazon AWS, and we are going to install the Node-RED in the Amazon AWS, and we will see how to create some meaningful applications using the Amazon AWS that we have already started. So before we start anything on the Node-RED, first we have to install Node-RED in the Amazon AWS. So the installation process is like pretty simple. There are a few commands that you need to execute on your Amazon AWS, and once those commands are executed successfully, you will be able to open the Node-RED directly from your Amazon AWS itself. So let us see how to install this Node-RED on the Amazon AWS. And again, repeating here that whatever process we are doing in the Amazon AWS can be done on the Raspberry Pi as well. So if you want Node-RED to be installed on the Raspberry Pi, similar type of commands can be used even there. And all the things that we'll be discussing in the Node-RED here can be done on the Raspberry Pi as well. So you can install Node-RED on the Raspberry Pi because the Amazon AWS and the Raspberry Pi have got the same operating system. So you will be able to do similar things on both the platforms. So in this particular session, as we have been doing, we will be using the Amazon AWS. So what we will do is I'll log in into my session, and I'll be executing each of these commands, and then we'll try to take it step by step from there. So I am opening the putty session. So this is my Amazon AWS IP. So I'll just click on open, and as always we have to enter the login name, that is Ubuntu, and then we'll be logged in into the Amazon AWS EC2 instance. So let us now try to install these things. So before we do that, let us just do a sudo apt-get update and upgrade so that we get the latest packages that are available. Sorry, I think the spelling is wrong. Okay. So even you will be you can also do these things on your Amazon AWS, sudo apt-get update. So it basically updates all your pre-installed libraries that are there, and then after the upgrade is finished, you can update is finished, you can also do the upgrade. So it is just asking that it has to install a few additional packages. So I've typed yes, and then it completes all these installations within a short time. And till this installation is running, we will just copy this command. So the first command is the curl command, and I'll just copy this entire command here, and I can paste this particular command here just by a right click. So once this particular thing is finished, I'll be pasting that particular command here and executing that command so that the installation for the Node-RED starts. So it's taking a little bit more time to sort of finish this thing. That is the upgrade that we've already started. So yeah, it's almost near to completion. So once it completes, I'll just clear the screen, and then we'll start the installation for the Node-RED. So there are around 6 commands, I think, to execute. Yeah, so this is complete. So let me just clear the screen, and as I've copied that particular line there, I'll just have to right click. So once I right click, it automatically pastes it, and then I'll hit enter. So it starts downloading those particular packages, and then yeah, so the first set of thing I think is complete. So let us go and run the second command here. So basically it is now installing the Node.js, and it is also downloading the all essential packages that are needed for installing the Node.js. So by the time it completes that, I'll also copy the third command. So now I'm running the third command. So the first two commands have been executed on the Amazon AWS. So the third command I've pasted and I'll hit enter again. So now it is running the Node-RED, and once this command completes we will be able to so I'll just go to the next slide. So once these three commands are done, we can test whether the Node-RED is installed or not just by typing node-red in the command window that is in this particular thing. So let us type and see. So the command that is we need to type is node-red. So before that, let me clear so that it is little easier for you to see. Yeah, so as soon as I type this, it is showing that welcome to the Node-RED, and it is giving the version, Node.js version, and whatever the corresponding things are there, wherever the settings files are installed. So all these particular default directories that are there, all those directories are being shown. So this shows that the Node-RED is installed successfully in your Amazon AWS, and now you will be able to use it. So before we start using it, so now that we know that Node-RED is installed, there are three more commands that we have to install. So what happens is by installing these commands, whenever you start your Amazon AWS session, you need not run the Node-RED manually. Automatically, even though you don't log into your session using the putty, directly you will be able to open Node-RED when you run these three commands. So I'll just paste the first command out of this, and then we'll be just starting that service. So basically these commands are used so whenever your instance starts up, automatically the Node-RED starts running. You need not manually start it. So that is the reason why we are running these commands as well, so that each time if you want to do, you need not log in into your Amazon session. You can, using putty, you can directly sort of go to the website and you can, yeah. So all these commands have been executed successfully. So I hope you try this installation on your Amazon AWS instance as well. And now here, just looking at it on this slide. So now how to open the Node-RED? So that is the next question. Now that the installation is done, we can open the Node-RED just by typing the IP address of our Amazon AWS, and along with that we have to type a port number which is 1880. So this is what you have to do. So you can just open the Node-RED by typing the IP address of your instance, and along with that you just need to type the port number, that is 1880. So what I have to do now is I have to open a new tab, and in the new tab I have to open the whatever IP address of this particular Amazon AWS is there, and then I'll have to directly enter that IP address in the URL, and I have to also use the port number, that is 1880. So as you can see, I have opened a URL and I have typed this particular IP address of my Amazon AWS, that is 18.222.192.13, and I have used a port that is colon 1880. So this is the port that you have to use for the Node-RED application to run. So once you type this particular IP address in your URL tab and you hit enter, the Node-RED window opens up. So this is how it looks, and this is the basic flow that they give us so that we can get started with it. So now let us just understand what is Node-RED and what are the different sections in this particular Node-RED that you are able to see. So on the leftmost side here, you can see that there are different nodes that are given. So I'll just scroll down. So you can see that the heading is like common nodes, and then there is a function under which there are different functions that you can use in creating your algorithm. And then there is network, and in the network we have MQTT in out, HTTP in, HTTP response, WebSockets, TCP, UDP, serial in, serial out, and ping request, and then you have the split, join, sort in the sequencing, and then there is a storage and parser. So all these particular nodes are already available with your Node-RED. And if you want to have extra nodes or the additional nodes, you will be able to download those nodes into this particular palette that you already have. But before we do that, let us just take a look at how simple it is to just drag and drop these nodes onto our work area, and how to use those particular nodes. And this is the screen that you're able to see on the middle of your Node-RED window. This is where you can create all your Node-RED flows. And then on the right side, if you see, you have different tabs again. So out of this tab, the important tab is like this tab. This is called as a Debug tab. And this particular Debug tab will print all the messages here. So there is this particular node which is called as a debug, and whenever you use this node here, it sort of displays all the messages. So if you want to just test your workflow, whether it's working correctly or not, then you'll be able to use this particular debug window and you'll be able to see the output. So let us just start a very basic thing, and let us see how this particular Node-RED works. So I'll just delete these two nodes for now, which are already there. And if you see here, there is a red color deploy button. So once you create your nodes here, you have to just click on the deploy, and once you deploy it, that particular flow, that whatever you have created, it sort of stores itself in the Amazon AWS, and it runs automatically. So that is what happens whenever you deploy it. So I'll take two common nodes that are there. One is the inject node and other one is the debug node. So these are the two common nodes that are there. And to connect these two nodes, you have to just hover your mouse pointer over this particular end. So you can see that it turns into orange as soon as I go near it. You just click there and then you drag that particular line, and again once you approach this also turns into that color, and then it connects itself. So it is very simple. So I can connect another, I can just drag another debug, and I can also connect something like this, right? So you can have multiple input and outputs that are going from one node to the other node, and how many ever debugs you connect here, you'll be able to connect it to this particular node that is there called as a timestamp. Now let us open this particular block and see what settings we can do, and let us try to run a very basic example so that you understand like what is happening in this particular example. So I'm just double clicking on the timestamp, and instead of timestamp, what I will do is I will select a string, okay, and the message.payload, I am just saying it is hello world, right? So as this is our first program, let us just type hello world as a string, and I'll just use the message.topic as a I'll just use something like name, okay? My topic is nothing but name. And here there are different objects like repeat. So if you want to repeat it after every fixed certain interval, you can do that. Otherwise, for now I'm just doing this. I've just selected a string here, as you can see, and I have written hello world, and the message.topic is this, and the payload is hello world. And the name, you can just say this is the node name that shows on your canvas. So you can just say first node, and then you just click on done. So once you click on done, you can see that here the first node is getting printed, and there is a small button beside this particular node which gets activated once you deploy it. And once you press that particular button, the hello world that you have written is going to reach the debug option. And because now we have opened the debug tab here, it automatically prints whatever you have written in the first node onto this particular window. So let me just delete this so that we get only one output. And you can see that here there is a small blue dot on both of these nodes that you have selected here. So what does that blue dot correspond is that you have not yet deployed the change. That is, you have changed something in the node and you have changed something here, but it is not deployed. That is why the button here still shows the red color. Once you deploy it, automatically this blue color dots from this, they go away. So let us just deploy it. So I'm just hitting on deploy, and you're getting a message that it is successfully deployed. Now you can see that the blue dots which were there on the nodes are not visible anymore. Now what I'm going to do is, there is a small button here just beside the inject tab or the first node that is there. Once I click this, whatever content is there in that particular node, that is, we have written a string called hello world, that string is going to reach the debug button, that is message.payload. And because we have already opened the debug tab here on the rightmost side, we are going to see the output here. So let me just click on this. So once I click, you can see that it is just showing the time when it was clicked, and it is showing the hello world. So this is how simple it is to sort of use these nodes, and you can change different things here. So you can just double click on that, and instead of hello world, you can just select a number, for example, and I'll just give a number called 45, and this can be left as same, but I'll change it value, and I'll hit done. Now you can see, because I've changed this particular node, it is showing a blue dot on it, and again I have to deploy it. And once it is successfully deployed, the deploy button also sort of goes gray. That is, you cannot deploy it again. It means that your changes have been already in, and you cannot do it once again. So now you can see that I've changed the value. Earlier it was hello world, now I've replaced it with a number, and I hit this button again, and you can see that it shows 45 here. So whatever number we have stored in that particular thing, that number is sent from this particular node to this node, and this particular node being a debug node, it prints that particular message there. Now another interesting option here is that instead of pressing this button and then that message going into the debug, you can use the repeat function. So there is a repeat function here, and when you open the drop down list, you can see that there is an interval between times and at a specific time. So you can use any one of these options. So I'm choosing interval, and I'm just giving for every 3 seconds. For every 3 seconds, I want this particular node to transmit this value into the debug node. So I'll just click on done, and then I have to deploy it again. And you can see that here there's an arrow which says it repeats itself, and I haven't clicked anything, but you can see that already after every 3 seconds you can see that a value 45 is sort of displayed here. So you can see the time interval as well. After every 3 seconds you can see that the 45 message is being repetitively sent from this particular node to this node. So this is what basically happens when you create a repeat option in the inject node. So this is how simple it is. So currently we have just used a very basic sort of a flow, and we will also now see how to install extra nodes that you want. So because in the slides we have seen that there is something called as this dashboard, but in this particular node you haven't seen any nodes with which you can create those amazing options like gauges and buttons and sliders. So what we will do is, now we'll try to install those nodes, and then we will try to create some applications using the Node-RED. So the applications that we will be doing is, we will be using the MQTT nodes, and we'll be creating some interesting applications using it. We'll be using the HTTP nodes, and we'll also create some applications using the UI dashboard. And there are some nodes in this function like switch, change, range, template. So we can use those, delay and trigger, and we will be able to create some applications using that as well. So let me just show you one small option here. So I'm just separating the message.payload little bit away. Now what I'll do is, I'll use a delay block, and I'll drag this delay block, and I'll just keep it in between here. So still I haven't left that block, but as soon as I hover this block here, you can see that the line that was solid before, it becomes like a dashed line. That is, it automatically fits a node. Whenever now I just drop that node, you can see that it is automatically connected it. And this block is a delay block of 5 seconds. Okay, so you can also change the options by clicking on that node. But for now I don't want to change it. I'll just keep it like that. That is, whenever this particular node sends an information, it delays it for 5 seconds, and then you get the output. And just to sort of see the difference, I'll also change the value from 45. I will change something like 100, so that we see that whenever the data is coming, we have a 5-second delay here. So I'll deploy it, and once deployed, already the messages are sort of coming, but because there is a delay here, you can see that the message stops after every 5 seconds. So you can see now we have received one message here at 19, but because there's a 3-second gap again and there is a delay of 5, so therefore you are able to see the value 100 that is coming here. And now what we can do is, instead of having a repetitive thing, we can just say none here, and I'll just click on done, and I'll deploy again. So now you won't see the messages that are coming again and again because we have not given the repeat option. But once I click on this, so there is a small button here, once I click on this, that 100 value is going to be sent from this particular node into this delay block. So once I click on this, you can see that here a small blue color square sort of thing establishes here, saying that here basically there is a delay that is happening. So let me just click it. So I've clicked it, and you can see that there is a blue color dot that is coming up, and after 5 seconds you will see an option here. So you can see that now it has printed 100, right? So this delay block is used to create delays. So if you want to create some sort of delays in your code, that is, if you have 5 different paths and in one path you want to create some delay, you will be able to create or use such kind of nodes that are already there in the Node-RED. Now let us go ahead and take a look at how to install different nodes that are there. So there is this option here which is having 3 horizontal lines. You just click on that, and there is an option called as manage palette. So just click on the manage palette, and another sort of window opens up, and here there are different nodes that are there, and you can go to the install option, and you can just type dashboard, right? If you want to get all those gauges and sliders and buttons, you can just type dashboard, and you can just click a button here. So if you can see here, there's an install button, and I'm installing this Node-RED dashboard, and I just click on this install. So you can click install again on the message. So it starts installing these nodes here, and it just takes like a couple of minutes to install it. And once it installs, you can see all those nodes here. Yeah, so you can see that nodes added to the palette. So all these nodes that it has shown. So I'll just close it, and I'll just scroll down this particular bar here that is there on the left side, and you can see that the dashboard, so there is a new set that is created called dashboard, and in this there are all these options, that is button, drop down, slider, text input, date picker, and then there are gauges, charts, audio out, notification. So all these things can be used in order to create all those user interface dashboards that we have seen in the presentation before. So in this particular session we will stop here, and I hope you install all these options in your Amazon AWS as well. And in the next session what we will do is we will try to create some applications using all these nodes that are here. That is, we will be using particularly nodes on MQTT, on HTTP. We will be using some of the nodes that are there here as a part of functions, and so we'll be creating also the app wherein we can show you like how to create the UI dashboard and how to create those amazing looking apps that we have seen before. So thank you for listening to this video, and we'll again meet in the next video. Thank you.